Gasaot ang bangka sa tingog sang mga balod. Manami-nami. Kabuhi ang hatag sang dagat para sa aton. Bugay nga halin sa Dios sa aton nga halungan. Manami-nami. Para maakuman pa sang aton kabataan.
This is Sagay Marine Reserve, a 32,000-hectare protected seascape and one of the largest marine protected areas in the Philippines. This is a story of legacy, a legacy of conservation to benefit small fisher folks and the future generations. It is considered as one of the richest fishing grounds and an important marine conservation program that significantly contribute to food security and biodiversity in Negros Occidental and in the region. Sagay Marine Reserve is bounded in the north and is located at the northern part of the Negros Island, with an area of 32,000 hectares under the jurisdiction of 6 coastal barangays of Sagay City. It includes Molocabok Islands, Suyak Island, including the surrounding reefs and the fringing reefs of Carbin, Panal, and Makahulong. This marine reserve is rich with aquatic flora and fauna, which supplies marine resources to the fisher folks. It has 500 hectares of mangroves with more than 100 hectares reforested, and the rest old growth as it hosts 33 species of mangroves and 10 mangroves of associate species. It has one of the contiguous mangrove greenbelts in Negros Island. It has also 12 species of seagrasses with around 3,000 hectares of seagrass beds. There are 78 species of macrobenthic algae and 60 genera of hard, black, and soft corals. It has giant clams, marine turtles, different species of fishes, shellfishes, crabs, flying foxes, and other marine life.
Sagay Marine Reserve is one of the important marine key biodiversity area in the Philippines, especially in the Visayan Sea. It is situated in the center of Visayan Sea, and they provide a lot of sources for fish, corals, and coastal and marine resources. Sagay is very unique because it's a very diverse protected area that covers mangrove forests, seagrass beds, including islets and sandbars, and also a lot of endangered species, especially marine mammals, marine turtles, and the very elusive dugongs.
Sagay Marine Reserve is something that should be replicated. No, something replicated around the country. It's not easy. We had challenges, but it boils down to political will. It boils down to the leadership for the reserve to really be successful.
Visayan Sea was once called the Alaska of Philippines as it was abundant in fishing. However, because of man's abuse to Sagay's marine environment and the perceived thought that our sea is limitless, it resulted to the massive destruction of coral reefs and other marine habitats in the area.
Walo pa lang katuig, nagaupod ako panagat kay Papa. Baruto pa to, ma'am. Ang amo to, ma'am, kamaayo gid sang sa tong tion sang sa una pagid, ma'am.
Ang sitwasyon sa aton kadagatan, damo, tani isda, ugaling lang nagsulod ang mga illegal fishing. Amugid ang nakapigado sa mga mangingisda.
Do kahigo sa paglantaw kasi damo nga panagat, nga nagasulod nag-abuso sa aton mga corals. Kag subo nga daw may ara na kami mismo nga may right nga magdakmag, saway. Kag sila man mismo daw nakontrol man sila kay kami mismo nga gagmay managat. May tingog na kami sa city nga pag-implementar sa aton areas ng Sagay.
That time, hulbot was rampant. At that time, a lot of dynamite fishing was still very much in place, and many other what we call as illegal fishing activities were going on. So we had to make sure that people are willing to accept this effort, no, this effort of the local government to protect biodiversity.
In the late 1970s, the then municipal mayor, then congressman, who became the governor of Negros Occidental, Alfredo G. Marañon Jr., initiated the action for the conservation and management of the dying coral reefs with the technical expertise of Silliman University Marine Laboratory, then headed by Dr. Angel Alcala.
When I became a mayor in 1970, my biggest problem was the illegal fishermen, glass fishermen. When you come to this area, there are many widows, there are many fishermen that have only one arm because of the glass fishing. There are many people that have only one eye because they were blasted. This Bahulocabok was the center, was the training ground of the illegal fishermen. Most of the fishermen that are illegal fishermen in Batangas came from Locabok. Because that were going the early part of the 60s and 70s. So my biggest problem, how to control the fishermen. So it took us more than 30 years to convince them that it is for their own good, it is for the good of the community, that they will protect, they should not destroy, they should not kill the hen that lays the golden egg. Because our richest resource of this country is not in our agriculture, it's not in our marine, it is not in our forestry, it is in our marine resources. The richest marine in the whole world. The Visayas is the center, the heart of the marine biodiversity.
We were tasked with really trying to educate the people of Sagay, particularly the coastal residents of Sagay, about the government's effort to conserve and to manage biodiversity.
That time then, he would gather fishermen from coastal barangays of Sagay Marine Reserve, and he would put up fishing competitions, no, in Makahulong Reef, and there you would see how abundant the waters of Sagay then, and that started off the idea of conserving the waters of Sagay City.
In 1995, Presidential Proclamation 592 was passed declaring the 32,000 hectares of Sagay's territorial water as protected seascape under the National Integrated Protected Area System. The father of Sagay Marine Reserve, the late Alfredo G. Marañon Jr., passed a law for stricter enforcement, Republic Act 9106, an act for establishment and management of Sagay Marine Reserve, which was signed into law in April 14, 2002. Sagay Marine Reserve was a recipient of various awards as one of the nationally and internationally sustained marine conservation program.
The greatest achievement probably is getting that Galing Pook Award in 1997 when Sagay Marine Reserve won the Galing Pook, no? And there were several others aside from Galing Pook. Governor Marañon was cited by BIFAR for having the best conservation efforts, and several other awards were given to him, not only national, local, but international awards. So I think that is the achievement far outweighs the lessons learned during the 50-year program. One key also is the partnership of the Museo Panbata, no? The interactive marine museum there, where we teach our young kids on how to conserve the marine resources, no? Catch the idea quickly, no?
Sagay Marine Reserve is being managed by the Protected Area Management Board, co-managed by the city government of Sagay, a local government who is solely funding its operations, and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. It has 4 major sections: law enforcement, resource management, social development, and licensing.
As a protected area superintendent, my function is to make sure all the rules and regulations of the Marine Reserve are implemented. So our management style is from bottom up. We make sure that we satisfy the needs of our fisher folk. So we listen to what they want or what they need. And because this program was made for them, they are our priority with regards to management. To me, Sagay Marine Reserve will always be the pride of Sagaynons. As a child, it was my playground. Carbon Reef, Funnel Reef, and Maca Reef, where I go to enjoy, to unstress. As I grew older, it was an honor to help conserve and preserve what's inside.
Bali, ginihimo namon halos day and night kanda kami seaborne patrol na gin sa mga illegal fishing. Pero sa subong nga sitwasyon, ma'am, bali ang mga illegal fishing parehabi sa mga dynamite fishing. Kung ikumpara mo sa una kagkaron, mas na-minimize na subong.
The resource management section of the Sagay Marine Reserve is mandated to do the biophysical monitoring of the entire reserve. So what we are doing is we do coral assessments, mangrove assessments, seagrass assessments, and also we do the zoning. And I collaborated with different agencies. The result of these assessments of these activities is recommended to the office of the PASO, and then the PASO will present it to the PAMPI what will be result of the activities that will benefit to the program of the entire reserve.
One of the main activities is the organized fisher folk associations or POs, because this association is considered as one of our or extra hand of the city or the LGU in the implementation of our protection, of our conservation, also in the law enforcement.
The DNR on his side designated also a point person, no, to look in the operation of the SMR in the DNR side, just to implement programs and projects for the Sagay Marine Reserve. So DNR has also prioritized the implementation of biodiversity-friendly enterprise, of which the DNR with City Tourism and City Enro work with the livelihood program that would be considered to be sustainable and non-destructive. This could help the people's organizations that are operating within the Sagay Marine Reserve. No? So we provided technical assistance in terms of training the tour guides, no? Providing the gears for tour guides, and of course the people that are considered to be helping, no, the people's organization to be sustaining, no, a non-destructive type of operation in the Sagay Marine Reserve.
Ecotourism and biodiversity conservation strategy also provided another alternative livelihood for the fisherfolks and has helped highlight the need to conserve the marine reserve, as it is important that it is well protected. It also empowered the stakeholders to become champions for their environment and community.
One of the challenges of Sagay Marine Reserve is how to incorporate community in conservation. And Sagay City has embarked into sustainable tourism development, creating community-based ecotourism programs. And these programs has helped raise up champions of their own environment and the ecosystem, and also at the same time champions of their own community, while providing them the inclusive economic opportunity and the dignity of work and this decent living. And at this point in time, there are still a lot of things to be done in terms of sustainable tourism development. But I believe that we are on the right track as we work continuously and hard so that more communities can become champions and advocates of their own environment.
Karon tigulang nako daw ini ko kasarang magpanagat. Bali ang Eco Park dako gid nga nabulig sa amon dira sa Suyak. Nakabulig sa amon extra income.
Dapat gigali nga manglibto ta adlaw kag magdungan ta tanom kay para makabulig man sa atong oxygen ang konsang mga mangrove. Kag tudloan ta man ang mga kabataan kung paano na mag-segregate sa mga basura kag man amlig sa aton dunang manggad.
We cannot just rest on our laurels, no? Okay, because we're doing okay here, we're good. No, this is a worldwide concern. Para sa hambal nila, we're doing okay here, but because of the climate change, it will affect us.
So that's one thing that's very important for Sagay Marine Reserve and the community to take note of the impacts of climate change. Second, I think it's man-made impacts that I foresee that's affecting Sagay Marine Reserve and also all over the Philippines. These are solid waste or garbage in marine litter, in the sea, in our rivers. So these are the sad state in terms of our environment.
Since 1970s up until today, the conservation continues in Sagay Marine Reserve. One of the significant impact of the conservation program is the prioritization of sustainable fishers and what it meant for the generations of today.
Of course, I really see myself protecting the marine environment, and it was a fascinating scenery, and I greatly appreciate all of our leaders for maintaining this sustainability, maintaining this conservation and protection of the marine environment. So it was also my role to discover a lot, to discover more on how to conserve, on how to educate, on how to raise awareness to further advance the marine environment to a lot of people.
This marine conservation program has sustained spanning for more than 50 years. Protecting this part of the Visayan Sea is highly important as it contributes to climate change adaptation. Its complex ecosystems support our life here on Earth. And to ensure our sustainable future, it is important to see Sagay Marine Reserve as a breathing and living ecosystem, providing our fisher folks livelihood from a living sea, food for our people, enriching, healing experiences for our visitors, and its breathtaking beauty our next generations can behold. As the father of Sagay Marine Reserve, the late Governor Alfredo G. Marañon Jr. would say, "Protect the environment, and it will return to you in abundance."
Sa kadagatan nga mabugana, paraiso, paraiso.